Do you know what the population of countries around the world will actually look like in the year 2100? This video jumps about 70 years into the future, way past today's familiar maps, numbers, and comfortable assumptions. What you're seeing belongs to a future most of us watching right now will never actually live to see. So why should we even care about population numbers that feel so far away from our daily lives? Because population quietly decides power, survival, money, and global influence long after individual people are gone. Generations will pass, societies will change, and history will keep moving forward without us being there. But the countries you recognize today will still exist, even if they look very different from what we know. Some countries will rise in importance in surprising ways, while others slowly lose their global influence. So what unseen force decides which countries grow stronger and which ones fall behind over time? The simple answer is population growth, population decline, and the unstoppable momentum of human demographics. Population change is way more than boring numbers you see on charts, graphs, or complicated statistic tables. So what does population actually control in the real world we all live in today? It decides economic strength, how many people can work, how much innovation happens, and long-term productivity. Population trends shape migration, pushing millions of people to move across borders and entire continents. They also affect military power, political influence, and long-term global stability. Why does this century feel so different compared to earlier times in human history? Because population growth is no longer spread evenly across different parts of the world. Some countries are shrinking way faster than experts expected just a few decades ago. Meanwhile, other countries are growing at speeds humanity has almost never seen before. Together, these quiet changes slowly shift the balance of power across the entire planet. Let's start with a big question: which powerful countries are losing population the fastest right now? The answer might surprise you because several of today's strongest nations are shrinking rapidly. Japan drops from over 120 million people to fewer than 80 million by 2100. South Korea loses more than half of its entire population within just 1 century. So why is this happening in countries that are rich, advanced, and highly developed? Low birth rates and aging populations slowly shrink the workforce year after year. Italy, Germany, Spain, and Poland follow very similar long-term population decline patterns. But then we reach the most shocking example of all in this list. China falls from nearly 1.4 billion people to around 630 million. That single drop completely reshapes global economic, manufacturing power, and political influence worldwide. Does every country face either total collapse or crazy population growth in the future? The answer is no, and this is where stability becomes incredibly valuable. France changes slowly, avoiding both massive population loss and uncontrolled growth. The United Kingdom follows a fairly moderate and balanced population path over time. Indonesia also avoids extreme population swings throughout the entire century. So what about the most populated country on the planet today? India keeps growing, but at a much more controlled pace than before. By the year 2000, India remains the most populous country in the world. Its population passes 1.5 billion people, keeping huge demographic weight. In the future, having balanced population growth might be a rare national advantage. Which continent will shape the future of humanity's population more than any other place on Earth? The answer is clearly Africa, and the numbers make that impossible to ignore. By the year 2000, Africa becomes the main center of global population growth. Nigeria nearly doubles its population, reaching close to 477 million people. The Democratic Republic of Congo grows beyond 430 million inhabitants. Ethiopia passes 360 million people by the end of the century. Why do these African population numbers matter so much globally? Because Tanzania almost quadruples its population in just a few generations. Niger and several nearby countries experience massive and explosive population growth. While much of the world gets older, Africa becomes younger, bigger, and more influential. So, how does the Middle East fit into this huge global population shift? The region doesn't follow one simple story, but several very different paths. Iraq sees strong population growth through most of the century. Yemen keeps growing fast despite serious economic and political problems. Afghanistan's population increases steadily over many decades. Saudi Arabia grows more slowly but stays fairly stable overall. Which countries might surprise you by slowing down instead of growing? Iran's population growth stalls and slowly starts flattening out. Turkey follows a similar trend, showing little growth or gradual decline. These different paths quietly change the future balance of power in the region. So, what do all these population changes actually mean for global power in the future? By 2000, Europe becomes older, smaller, and much less dynamic demographically. Its global influence slowly weakens as population momentum disappears. East Asia also loses population along with long-term economic energy. So who benefits the most from all these massive demographic changes? Africa becomes younger, larger, and far more important on the global stage. Its population weight grows faster than any other region on the planet. North America keeps growing at a steady and controlled pace. It avoids both extreme population collapse and dangerous population explosions. Population alone doesn't guarantee power, but without people, power simply cannot exist. Now let me ask you something directly and personally. Where does your own country show up in this list of future populations? Is your country growing, staying stable, or slowly shrinking over time? What could that mean for jobs, money, and future opportunities where you live? Population changes affect housing, schools, and overall social stability. Will your country gain more global influence or quietly lose importance? These numbers are not just boring statistics on a screen. They represent real people, families, and future generations. Every population shift changes how societies live and compete, and the future depends much more on today's choices than most people think. Will any of us actually live long enough to see the world of 2100? Probably not, but our choices today are already shaping that future. Birth rates, education, and economic opportunities quietly guide humanity's long-term direction. Government decisions affect population trends more than most people realize. These demographic forces are already moving and cannot easily be stopped. The video may end here, but population change never really stops. This wasn't just data, it was a preview of our shared future. Every number you saw represents millions of real human lives. Take a moment and think about where your country is heading. Share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe for more future-focused videos.